Hello, and thank you for joining us for our Services Australia webinar. Today's presentation is Financial Information when Looking for Work. My name is Kylie, and I'm one of the Services Australia's Financial Information Service Officers. My colleague Fiona and I will be your hosts for today. We understand that this can be a challenging time in your life, and we hope that the information we share today will assist you. Before we start today, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands we live on and extend Services Australia's respect to all elders past and present of all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander nations. Today I join you from the beautiful Biripi country in New South Wales. We offer a live question and answer chat throughout this webinar. So on the right-hand side of the screen, you will find a question box. Please feel free to ask questions and one of our very experienced Financial Information Service Officers will answer your inquiry. At the end of the webinar, we will keep the session running for a few extra minutes to allow you all the questions to be answered. And to help protect your privacy, please do not share any personal or identifying information. The Financial Information Service provides free, independent and confidential information and education to help you understand your financial options, to assist you to help make informed financial decisions. FIS is available to all Australians. You do not need to receive a payment from Services Australia to speak to one of us. It's important to note that FIS are not financial planners or advisors, and we do not give financial advice or tell you what to do with your money. Today we'll be discussing looking for work and the process. We'll cover what payments and services that may be available to you and discuss the effects different leave entitlements may have on Services Australia payments, including child support and family tax benefit. We will touch on superannuation and financial planning. If you would like to speak to one of our Financial Information Service Officers about your individual circumstances, you can call us on 132 300 and say Financial Information Service when asked why you're calling. The information that we will discuss in today's webinar is general information only and is correct as of today's date, the 16th of April 2026. Payment rates and thresholds can and do change, so please refer to the Services Australia website for up-to-date information. Let's start with redundancy payments. A genuine or bona fide redundancy payment is a payment paid to an employee if you have been dismissed because the job you were doing has been abolished. This means your employer has decided that your job no longer exists and your employment is to be terminated. A redundancy may not be considered genuine if you are pension age or older on the day of dismissal, you leave voluntarily, or you are dismissed for disciplinary reasons. A genuine redundancy payment is tax-free up to a limit based on completed years of service. And in the 25-26 financial year, the tax-free limit is $13,100 plus $6,552 for each completed year of service. If we look at this example, we can see Mark has completed 6 years and 9 months of service from this organisation and has received a redundancy payment of $35,000. To work out if Mark's redundancy payment would be taxable, we use the current redundancy figures of $13,100 plus $6,552 for each full year of service, remembering that we only count full years of service. So in Mark's case, this would be 6 years to work out his tax-free limit, which is $52,412. Because Mark's whole $35,000 payment is under the tax-free limit, all of his redundancy payments would be tax-free. If we flip this example and say Mark has now received $55,000 in redundancy payments, this would be over the $52,412 tax-free limit based on his years of service. Any of the redundancy payment above that limit would be considered an employment termination payment, subject to the concessional tax rate. Now, employment termination payments, or ETPs, can include payments for unused sick leave or unused roster days off, payments in lieu of notice, a golden handshake, and employees' invalidity payments or permanent disability, a redundancy payment over the tax-free limit. ETPs are taxed at the concessional rate. This means that you will usually pay a lower rate of tax on ETPs if you receive the payment within the last 12 months of termination and the amount you receive is under the ETP capped amount. The current ETP capped amount for the 24-25 income year is $245,000. This amount is indexed annually each year on the 1st of July. The concessional tax rates are 17% if you have reached your preservation age, 32% if you have not reached preservation age and up to the relevant cap, or if your ETP amount is above the ETP cap, it will be taxed at 47%. There is also a secondary whole of income cap of $180,000. Your employer can tell you whether the whole of income cap applies to your ETP. If you're unable to speak to your former employer, check your income statement or PAYG payment summary. If the ETP payment has a code of O or P, it is likely that your payments are under the second cap. If you have any unused annual or long service leave entitlements, you may receive this as a payout when you cease work. These leave payouts may be concessionally taxed. The tax rate will be dependent on the type of termination, the date of accrual, and the type of leave. So for more information on ETP payments, caps, and tax rates, please visit the ATO website. If you lose your job due to your employer entering liquidation or bankruptcy, you may be entitled for the Fair Entitlement Guarantee Scheme. This scheme is a legislative safety net for employees who have lost their job due to their employer's liquidation or redundancy and are unable to recover their entitlements through other means. If you're an eligible employee, Fair Entitlement Guarantee may cover the following unpaid entitlements: unpaid wages up to 13 weeks, annual leave, long service leave, pay in lieu of notice capped at 5 weeks, redundancy pay capped at 4 weeks for each full year you work. The Fair Entitlement Guarantee does not cover unpaid superannuation guaranteed amounts required to be paid by your employers. To qualify, you need to lodge the claim within the required time frame, be considered an eligible employee, and meet the residency requirements. If you think you may be eligible, please see more information on the Department of Employment and Workplace Relations website. Now let's talk about job seeker payment. This payment provides financial help if you are looking for work and you are between 22 and age pension age. It is also for those who are unwell or injured and cannot do their usual work or study. You will be assessed against the income and asset test and must meet the Australian residency rules. To receive job seeker payment, you will be required to participate in activities that increase your chances of finding work. This is called meeting your mutual obligations requirements. Your mutual obligations requirements may differ depending on your individual circumstances, and it's important to note there are some possible exemptions from these obligations depending on your circumstances. If you've received a redundancy or any other lump sum payments when you cease work, you may have a possible waiting period before any support payments can commence. Fiona will cover waiting periods later in the session. Now to the important stuff, how much you might be entitled to. The single rate of job seeker payment is currently $793.90 per fortnight. If you're a member of a couple, the maximum rate of payment is $726.50 each per fortnight. These rates are dependent on your income and assets. Payment rates may differ depending on individual circumstances, such as having a partner who is still working, having children, or being single, and over 55. If you're renting, you may also be eligible to receive rent assistance. The amount of rent assistance payable will be dependent on what type of rent you are paying, how much you are paying, and your individual circumstances. So on the Services Australia website, if you search rent assistance, then how much you can pay or how much you can get, there are some great tables to work out just how much rent assistance you may be able to receive. To be eligible for a job seeker payment, your assets need to be below the current thresholds. So as a single person, the cut-offs are $321,500 for a homeowner and $579,500 for a non-homeowner. And if you have a partner, we assess your combined assets. And as a homeowner, the limit is $481,500 and a non-homeowner is $739,500. Similar to assets, you must also be under the income threshold to be eligible to receive a job seeker payment. As a single person, if your income is under $150 per fortnight, you will receive the maximum rate of payment under the income test. Job seeker reduces 50 cents in the dollar between $150 and $256, then 60 cents in the dollar over the 256. There are several different factors that can affect the cut-off point. For example, if you are single with children, over 55 and on a payment continuously for 9 months, or age 22 and over and have a partial capacity to work of 0 to 14 hours per week. If you are partnered, the income limit will vary depending on your age, if your partner is in receipt of a pension, or if you have children. You will receive the maximum rate of job seeker payment if your income is under $150 per fortnight and your partner is not in receipt of a pension or receives any income over the allowable limit. If your partner is not in receipt of a pension, your income over $150 reduces your job seeker payment by 60 cents in the dollar and cuts off at $1,414 per fortnight. To receive a job seeker payment, you'll be connected to a Workforce Australia provider, either online or with a face-to-face provider. Workforce Australia is a place Australians can search and apply for jobs or find more information on the pathways to employment. If you are connected to Workforce Australia online, you will need to create a profile and negotiate a job plan. Mutual obligations are tasks and activities you agree to do to help you find a job. Your obligations may include meeting your job search requirements, attending appointments, going to job interviews and reporting attendance, accepting job offers. You agreed to your obligations when you agree to your job plan. If you are not meeting your obligations, your payment may be put on hold, reduced or cancelled. Your requirements may be more flexible if you are 55 years or older, are a principal carer, or have a medical condition. There are many ways to find employment opportunities, and most common options are using the internet and job search apps on your phone. If you have lost your job, you may be feeling stressed or vulnerable. When looking for work, please be wary of common scams often published on social media, advertising great ways to make money quick or amazing work from home opportunities. They are targeting people in your situation, so please be extra careful and remember, if something sounds amazing and too good to be true, do some extra research. If you've lost your job and are thinking of commencing study or an Australian apprenticeship, there may be other payment options for you. Study may be payable if you are over 25 and a full-time student in an approved course or an Australian apprenticeship. Study is a payment available for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders students or apprentices. Study can help with school fees, boarding fees, living costs, travel costs, and buying school materials. Or there's youth allowance, which is a little different. There are a number of ways you may be eligible to receive youth allowance, including if you are aged between 16 and 21 years of age and looking for work or undertaking approved activities, if you are 18 to 24 and studying full-time, or between 16 and 24 years of age and doing a full-time Australian apprenticeship. If you have a disability, illness or injury, what you may be entitled to will depend on your health condition. You may qualify for disability support pension if you are unable to work because of a permanent physical, intellectual or psychiatric condition. To qualify, you will need to meet both the medical rules and the non-medical rules. You can use our online pre-claim guide on the Services Australia website to help work out if you may be eligible for a disability support pension. If your health condition is short-term and you are unable to do your usual work or study, you may qualify for job seeker payment with a medical exemption. If you are caring for somebody who needs daily support, you may be eligible for carer payment, carer allowance, and a carer supplement. The carer payment is an income support payment for individuals who provide constant care to somebody with a disability, medical condition, or an adult who is frail aged. Your rate of payment will be affected by both your income and assets, and there is also an income and asset limit for the person being cared for. You can still work while receiving carer payment, but you are restricted to 100 hours of work in a 4-week period. Any income received will be reportable and may reduce the amount of carer payment you receive. The carer allowance is an additional fortnightly allowance that is income tested but not asset tested. To be eligible, your family income needs to be under $250,000 a year. And yes, you can receive both the carer payment and the carer allowance at the same time. And lastly, the carer supplement helps with the costs of caring for somebody and is an annual payment made in July of up to $600. So if you are receiving both the carer payment and the carer allowance, you may qualify for 2 carer supplements. If you are a main carer of a young child, you may be eligible for parenting payment. To qualify, you must meet the principal carer rules for a child under 14 if you are single, and under 6 if you are partnered. You also have to meet the residency rules. Your income and assets must be under the limit, and your partner is currently not in receipt of parenting payment. If you are single and your youngest child is 6 years or over, you will need to meet the mutual obligations requirement unless you have an exemption. I am now going to pass you over to our fabulous Fiona to continue with our presentation.
Thank you, Kylie. I will begin by talking about waiting periods. Customers may be required to use some of their own funds to support themselves before receiving government support. This means there may be a delay before payments commence or a reduced payment for a period of time. If you are affected by a waiting period, you may test your eligibility for a low-income healthcare card. I will speak more on this later. The income maintenance period is one of the main waiting periods that can apply. If you have received termination or leave payments, these are treated as income for the period that they cover. There are some circumstances where all or part of the income maintenance period may be waived, such as if the person is in severe financial hardship and the hardship is because of unavoidable or reasonable expenses and the expenses were incurred while serving an income maintenance period. Here we have an example of how the income maintenance period may be applied. If Mark has loans or debts he plans to pay out, he needs to set aside enough money to live on until he receives a government support. He also needs to know if there are any other waiting periods he needs to serve. Liquid assets are cash and other readily available funds belonging to the person or their partner. The liquid asset waiting period may be waived if you are experiencing severe financial hardship. There are also circumstances where you may be exempt from serving a liquid asset waiting period. Please contact us to learn more about your situation. You may only be required to serve an ordinary 1 week waiting period, or as shown here, you may serve a liquid asset waiting period plus an ordinary 1 week waiting period, or serve an income maintenance period and an ordinary 1 week waiting period. Some waiting periods can be served at the same time. For age pension and carer payment, there are no waiting periods. Family tax benefit is a two-part payment that helps with the cost of raising children. To get this, you must have a dependent child or full-time secondary student aged 16 to 19 who isn't getting a pension, benefit or payment like youth allowance. Care for the child for at least 35% of the time and meet an income test. We use your adjusted taxable income to decide if you can get family tax benefit. There are also residence requirements. If you can't get family tax benefit, you may be able to get other payments. As the name suggests, childcare subsidy assists with the costs of approved childcare. The amount you can get depends on your family's income, the type of childcare you use, the age and number of children in your care, the hours of paid or unpaid work, study, training or other recognised activities that you and your partner do, or if you have an Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander child in your care. You can claim using your Centrelink online account through MyGov. We can help you choose, manage and apply for child support. There are two agreed types of child support. They are a child support assessment or self-managed child support. If you choose not to self-manage child support, you can apply for a child support assessment. We'll tell you and the other parent who needs to pay child support and how much this will be. We can also collect and transfer the child support payments. You can start a new case online by applying for child support. Self-management means you and the other person manage your child support payments on your own. If you self-manage, you can only get the base rate of family tax benefit Part A, which is a lower amount. You also won't have to apply for a child support assessment. You'll just need to let us know that you've chosen to self-manage. Once you have a child support assessment, you may decide you also need a child support agreement. You can make a formal child support agreement between both parents that can cover cash payments, non-cash items such as health insurance or school fees, or a combination of cash payments and non-cash items. There are two types of agreements: a limited child support agreement or a binding child support agreement. The type of agreement you choose depends on your circumstances. When you've decided what your child support arrangement will be, you'll need to choose how to transfer payments. There are different ways to pay or receive child support. Child support can collect, you can privately collect, or self-management. We have information to help compare your child support collection options. If you disagree with your child support assessment or payments, you can contact us. If you believe your child support assessment is unfair, in special circumstances, you may be able to request a change. If you disagree with the decision we've made on your child support case, you can object to it. You can do this if you think we've used wrong or old information, not considered all the facts, missed important details, not applied the law correctly. There are time limits for making an objection. Objecting a decision is not the same as providing us with feedback or making a complaint. Pensioners automatically receive a pensioner concession card. It is also available to some other payments recipients once they are 60 years of age and on payment greater than 9 months. A healthcare card is automatically issued to benefit payments such as job seeker and parenting payment. Concession cards assist people receive income support, low-income earners and their dependents to access concessional rate pharmaceuticals and other medical services funded by the Australian Government. Examples include cheaper medicine under the Pharmaceutical Benefit Scheme, bulk bill doctor visits, this is up to your doctor, a bigger refund for medical costs when you reach the Medicare safety net, help with hearing services, discounts to redirect your mail through Australia Post. Your state or territory government and local council may offer you more. These cards are separate to other state seniors cards. Please refer to local government for more information. A low-income healthcare card can be claimed by satisfying an income test based over the last 8 weeks and residence requirements. A separate claim is required. It can be claimed by those already on an income support payment. You must verify your income using payslips, bank statements, etc. Customers need to notify the agency when their total gross income reaches or exceeds 125% of the relevant income threshold in any 8-week period. Redundancy payments are apportioned over a period of 12 months from the date they are paid for customers. The main benefit is low-cost prescriptions and bulk billing. Possible additional concessions are available. I'm now going to talk about superannuation. Things for you to consider. Some funds won't accept contributions when you have ceased work for an employer. Many people have multiple funds from changing jobs. Multiple funds means excess fees and paperwork. Consider consolidating to reduce these and make it easier to manage your super. Are there other similar funds that are regularly performing better? Check the services and features of the fund, as this is important for some people. Note that when you are considering changing super funds, you may not get the same insurance cover. Be particularly careful if you have a pre-existing medical condition or are age 60 or over. Accessing preserved super outside of release conditions is illegal. Your assessable income will include any amount of super that you illegally access, even if you return the super to the fund later. Circumstances where you can access superannuation early include financial hardship, which is where you can't meet reasonable and immediate family living expenses, are in receipt of Commonwealth income support payment for a period of 26 weeks continuously if under preservation age, or for a total of 39 weeks if over preservation age. It is limited to one payment of up to $10,000 per 12-month period. Compassionate grounds conditions are when a member does not have the capacity to meet an expense in relation to medical treatment for themselves or their dependent, medical transport to access that treatment, modifications to the family home and or vehicle to meet the special needs of the disabled member, palliative care or death, funeral or burial expenses, and preventing foreclosure of a mortgage over the member's principal place of residence or a member has a terminal medical condition. The amount that can be paid is limited to what is reasonably needed. If no nomination is made to direct your funds on death, the trustee decides where they go. Members can complete a binding or non-binding death benefit nomination to direct funds after death. The fund trustee is not compelled with a non-binding arrangement. Binding nominations generally expire after 3 years or lapsing unless made non-lapsing when written. Seek professional advice around estate planning considerations. Options when you meet conditions of release include leave your money in super, which means there is taxation on investment earnings. However, the investment earnings may be better than outside of super. Take a lump sum, which may be used to pay off debts or invest elsewhere. Convert to a retirement income stream, which could supplement your age pension with zero tax on earnings and withdrawals. Your decision will be guided by your financial situation at retirement. Here are some questions for you to consider with financial planning. Is financial planning something that you can do yourself? Are there areas that you need help with? Where can you find information? Keep watching and I'll give you some resources. Every day we make dozens of decisions about money. Research has shown that 1 in 3 Australians find dealing with money stressful and overwhelming, and this can be made worse when you haven't got a job. Having a good understanding of money matters leads to informed financial decisions and greater financial well-being. That is where the Money Smart website comes in. It has a wealth of information that is written in clear and simple language. It also has tips, links, tools and calculators. It is a federal government website brought to you by the Australian Securities Investment Commission, known as ASIC. ASIC is responsible for promoting confident and informed participation in the financial system. ASIC uses the Money Smart program to provide information to Australians to be in control of their financial lives. We also have an online tool to see what payments and services you may be eligible for. It can also help you estimate your rate. The Service Finder is a way for you to learn more about government and community organisation support in your territory. I will now provide you with an overview of the digital products available to you to do your business with us. What is your favourite mobile app? Do you use self-service options with banking at the shopping centre or when you check in at the airport? Business and community expectations demand services that are easy to access, save time, secure, and are available 24/7. As we transform our services and digital first delivery expands, Services Australia is developing and refining our products and services to allow people to manage their own affairs in an easy-to-use, integrated digital channel. Using self-service options is a way that lots of people choose to complete their business with us. Many customers don't need to contact us at all because it's quick and easy for them to use self-service. This will allow us the flexibility and capability to respond quickly to change and maintain support for people with special and complex needs. A MyGov account lets you link a range of Australian government services with one username and password. With a MyGov account, you can access all your online accounts with Services Australia. That includes Centrelink, Medicare and child support, as well as other government online services like the Australian Taxation Office. If you require assistance with accessing, creating or linking services to your MyGov account, you can find more information by selecting the Help at my.gov.au or calling the MyGov Help Desk on 132307, selecting option 1. A MyGov digital assistant is now available for customers who need help using MyGov. The digital assistant is available 24/7 from a desktop or mobile device. Customers can also use the MyGov digital assistants on any MyGov webpage by selecting Ask a Question on the bottom right of the page. You may only want a little or a lot of help to deal with us. You can authorise a person or an organisation to do this. They can ask questions, make updates, act on your behalf and get your payments. The type of arrangement you choose should depend on what you need. You can choose a nominee, a person permitted to inquire, or a person permitted to update. You can always speak with us. Having someone to help you doesn't stop you from asking us questions, giving us information, or accessing your details online. When you stop needing their help, you must tell us to cancel, otherwise it will stay in place. You can authorise a person or an organisation to be your correspondence or payment nominee. You can have one correspondence nominee and one payment nominee, or the same person for both. Your nominee can't record a voice print on your behalf. This is because a voice print is unique to you. However, your nominee can still call us on their regular payment line. Online guides and videos are available to help you make the most of your online accounts and Express Plus mobile apps. These include step-by-step instructions for many common self-service transactions you can do in your online account, such as create a MyGov account and link services to MyGov, update your contact details, report employment income, update your income and assets and advise of travel outside Australia for Centrelink, check your payments, update your contact details and advise of a non-agency payment or update your income for child support, submit a claim online for Medicare. Be Connected is an online resource to help empower Australians to thrive in a digital world and features several tutorials and useful resources to help build digital skills and confidence. I'd like to remind you that the Financial Information Service provides free, confidential and independent education and information and is available to all Australians. You don't have to be receiving a government payment. We help build their financial skills to make informed decisions throughout their lives. FIS officers can help if you've been or will be retrenched. We can provide information on redundancy payments, superannuation and Centrelink payments. You can access the Financial Information Service by calling 132300 and say Financial Information Service when you ask for the reason for your call. As well as our main call centre numbers, we have additional services available and the numbers are shown here. You can see that we provide a service for people to call in their own language by contacting the multilingual phone service. We also have social workers who are available over the phone and in some service centres. A Services Australia social worker can provide short-term counselling, support and information. Some examples of people social workers help include people experiencing family and domestic violence and unsupported young people. Social workers can also direct you to other supports and services to assist you. That concludes our presentation for today. I would like to take the opportunity to thank you for taking the time to view our webinar and hope you found it helpful. I'd also like to remind you that it has been recorded and will be available for viewing. You can find it and other FIS webinars on the Services Australia website.